All right, gentlemen, let's dive into it. Yearly film series. We are at 2001.
2001.
Big year for plenty of reasons, and the year that we all went into high school together. And
Yeah.
this is, I guess, the start of all of us becoming friends with Doug, because the other three of us were already longtime friends since elementary school.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
yeah, you'll see our taste get even weirder, really, over these next 4 years in particular, as we see dumb movie upon dumb movie, because there wasn't much else to do when you're in high school and don't have cars.
Hell yeah. And have 2 movie theaters within walking distance. Well,
Yeah, no, they were
one
both
was
in
a
walking
real
distance.
walk, but
they were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One was a lot quicker.
yeah.
But yeah, let's. Ooh, JP, I'm just seeing your pick now. I fucking love it. I was very close to doing that. But yeah, Corey, jump into yours, which we actually kind of talked about earlier, because the Spider-Man trailer was with this movie, the one that the teaser trailer.
Oh my god! When I realized that this movie came out in this year, I had to choose it. Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within. What a disappointing film this was. I remember looking. We were all looking forward to this for whatever reason. I know why I was, but
I was
feel
looking
like
forward to it.
I feel like
Yeah, I was like, what?
I just
feel
saw
like-
it with you
I
because I
feel
saw
like-
every movie.
I feel like everyone, regardless if you knew, I mean, this movie had nothing to do with Final Fantasy at all.
Yeah.
Nothing.
I've
I mean,
never
it might
heard
have.
of this movie.
It
It has nothing to do with Final Fantasy.
it might.
It had
might
very
have,
good effects.
Yeah, it might
did.
have.
Good
'cause they
CGI.
it fucking bankrupt like Sony Pictures, I think, after. But yeah, I mean, it had some like Final Fantasy monsters, but that was it. Like the story was so generic. It was like aliens invading Earth type of thing. It was
Dude, I couldn't tell
so
you one thing about this movie.
I remember one thing about this movie, or no, sorry, 2 things about this movie. I remember Alec Baldwin voicing a character in this movie, and I remember Steve Buscemi voicing a character in this movie, and that is it. Movie is terrible. It's so bad. And I actually, when I was thinking about this movie before, when I was trying to figure out what I was gonna pick, I thought that the Animatrix trailer was with this, but it wasn't. It was with Dreamcatcher, like the next year.
Oh, Lord.
Oh yeah, they had some. Yeah,
Same
they
studio.
had some sort of thing for that.
Yeah,
A
so
preview of it. Would they show one segment from
No,
Animatrix?
it was Final Flight of the Osiris. So
Yeah, segment. Right?
yeah, well, Final Flight of the, it was all Animatrix was all short films. It was like 10-minute
Yeah.
films.
Segment.
So
Segment.
Let's see how many times I can say segment.
the animation studio that made this movie made that, and that for whatever reason I thought this was like a trailer with it, and that's why I went and saw it. But nope, I just went and saw it because Final Fantasy Spirits Within. And
Was there a
Final
single
Fantasy.
sword or magic in this
No.
movie at all?
No, nothing. I remember waiting for
Fucking
like
sci-fi movie.
I remember waiting for Cloud Strife to like pop up, or like some character from like some of the old Final Fantasy games that I loved when I was younger.
Was Final Fantasy X out at this point?
Yes.
Because I played the shit out of that game.
Final Fantasy X.
I did too.
That was the only Final Fantasy game I've ever played.
And for some reason, I had never heard of this movie.
Eh.
I think it came out that
I remember
year.
seeing the trailer and being like, that's not a Final Fantasy
Final
movie.
Fantasy
I will
VIII
not be
came
watching
out
that.
in '99. This was summer of 2001. We were in between middle school and high school when it came out.
July 19th, 2001 is when Final Fantasy X came out, and this came out.
Oh, so they came out simultaneously.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I mean,
Interesting.
Final Fantasy X is a masterpiece. This movie is not. It is.
Well, it is an example of one where the trailer that I saw for a different movie before it was more memorable than the film itself.
It's one of those movies where it was just a fucking generic movie that they slapped a franchise on and said, "Oh, there you go. This is a Final Fantasy movie now."
And
Like the Dungeons and Dragons movie with Marlon Wayans.
And they lost
It's
a
coming.
lot of money.
Yo, there's another one coming out with Chris Pine. They added
I
a
saw
couple of
that.
new people to it. I think Michelle Rodriguez.
Mm-hmm.
And then some other guy I don't know, but that probably won't be a piece of shit.
Hopefully,
Doug,
not.
let's hear about The Last Castle.
What is
I've
this?
talked about Last Castle before. You've
Is
never
that-
heard of Last Castle?
I've
James-
never heard of Last
James
Castle.
Gandolfini.
Oh,
James
it's a
Gandolfini, I was
it's a
gonna say,
great-
right?
Oh, that's why
Yeah.
I've never heard of it.
James Gandolfini is the it takes place at a military prison. James Gandolfini is like the warden, the bad guy basically. Robert Redford plays like the main protagonist. And then you've also got like Mark Ruffalo in there and Delroy Lindo. It's a really good movie. It's a really like kind of like a not a feel good, just like a good kind of like action movie. Robert Redford gets sent to this prison as like a decorated soldier that like made a bad command and wound up getting people killed because of the bad command. And so they sent him to this prison, and Gandolfini is like a ruthless warden, just like basically abuses all of these people that are in the prison and just like super harsh tactics on everybody. It's pretty bad. And Robert Redford's character pushes back against that, and so there's like a conflict between the two of them. And Robert Redford kind of like rallies the other prisoners together because they're all like ex-military, and he's the highest ranking officer. And so it's just kind of like it's a cool movie. I like it. If you haven't seen it, I would definitely recommend checking it out. It's a fun watch. I don't know if has anyone else seen this movie or just me.
I have never
Nope.
seen it. I've always wanted to, but I haven't gotten around to it.
It's a cool movie. It's fun. It all takes place in the prison. It's mainly just the dynamic between Redford and Gandolfini, as these guys that just like don't like each other. And it's an interesting dynamic because Gandolfini originally like loves Robert Redford's character and wants him to like looks up to Robert Redford basically, and then Robert Redford's like, "You're a fucking horrible warden," and so they just like, yeah. So it creates kind of this dynamic. It's cool. It's acting's well done. Didn't really do well in the box office for whatever reason, but
Yeah, and it was like right on
it's,
the coattails of Sopranos. Didn't Sopranos just end?
Sopranos
Yeah,
was
Sopranos
only
ended.
on season 3.
Yeah. It was just getting going.
Yeah,
For some reason, I thought it just ended.
It was approaching its height in popularity at that point. All right. I guess I'll have to check this one out. I remember it coming out, but that's about it.
yeah, it's fun. It's worth a watch.
Cool. JP, want to get into your comedy classic?
I had probably one of the best parody movies that's been made post 2000.
The
It was
best.
Not Another Teen Movie. It encapsulated and it made fun of all the stupid movies that we watched seriously. I guess comedies that we watched seriously that we thought were funny over the course of like our beginning high school years, like American Pie and Road Trip and all those great movies starring the relatively unknown Chris Evans as Jake Weiler, the fourth string quarterback at John Hughes High School. One of only 2 quarterbacks, but he's the fourth string. It does everything so well, and it pokes fun of all of these movies that came out that were considered, original comedy type movies. Like what is it? Like She's All That. What's the other one with not She's All That? What's the one with Jennifer Love Hewitt?
Can't Hardly Wait.
Can't Hardly Wait. Like all those
They do.
shitty late
They do
90s.
She's All That a lot.
Yeah.
10 Things I Hate About You.
Yep. 10 Things I Hate About You. Janie Briggs Got a Gun. Yeah. I love this movie. And I actually just recently found out my wife loves this movie. We had never talked about this before, but we were out somewhere and we started quoting this movie simultaneously, which I thought was awesome. So we're going to sit down and watch it again together sometime, which we've never watched it together. So we're pretty happy about that. There's so many good lines in this movie and there's so many good scenes. Chris Evans does such a good job just being a comedic actor. Eric Christian Olsen think I got that name right.
Yep.
Is great as the kind of the sidekick antagonist guy. Jamie Presley's there being fucking hilarious. I think my favorite scene in this movie is when Janie Briggs gets pushed in the pool and then she gets out and Jamie Presley dumps the water bottle on her, but then you hear someone in the background go, "That's gonna stain," and I fucking lose it every time I hear that scene.
Good cameos too. Principal from Breakfast Club, Molly Ringwald.
Yeah, there's so many good parts about this movie. It's just so well done. And
Randy
everything after
Quaid,
that-
hilarious.
Randy Quaid was so good in that. Fucking who's the guy that plays the kid's friend from he's in like Detroit Rock City. He plays the Oz character.
Ox,
yeah. That kid was in a bunch of weird movies around like the early 2000s, like Detroit Rock City.
And Neil Schreiber from Freaks and Geeks is the one who's
He thinks he's
appropriates Asian culture.
Yeah, man. It seemed like parody movies really fell off after this. I guess you had
They did, yeah.
Yeah. It was like Scary Movie.
Scary
and then
Movie
this
and
one.
this.
And then I kind of like Scary Movie 2 just because it's so fucking stupid.
Yeah, Scary Movie 2 came out, I think,
Probably right after this.
a year before this, or 6 months before this.
Wow. Because I remember seeing Scary Movie the
Scary
summer
Movie
going
came out.
into
Scary Movie came
high
out
school.
July of 2000, and Scary Movie 2 July of 2001, a month before American Pie 2.
Okay, so it came out. Yeah, everything's just fallen off after that. It just got really stupid. Granted, this movie's from a critical standpoint not great, and it's got like a 29% of Rotten Tomatoes, but
It needs a reevaluation.
It does. It's really
way better
good.
than that.
It is.
Because they got to, like, parody movies after this got to where they were just making fun of movies, like a movie like scene for scene. Like,
yep,
this movie like had its own story, did a ton of movies, and like would have its own story while also doing like a parody of like certain scenes. I don't know. In my opinion, it's better than Scary Movie.
Yeah, I think definitely so, because it doesn't rely on like dick humor and some of like the more lowbrow shit that, I mean, well, it does, but Scary Movie is just all penises and like weird sexual humor. This actually has some pretty funny dialogue in it.
Yeah.
Not another teen movie. Definitely recommend watching it. And if you haven't watched it in a while, watch it again, because it's a fucking insanely quotable movie.
A long time for me, so I'm gonna have to rewatch it.
Yeah.
All right, and my pick is the Paul Walker car film from 2001, Joyride.
Yeah.
Candy cane.
I just pulled a Doug with Michael J. Fox in 1985. Yeah, it's not Fast and Furious. Fast and Furious would be an easy pick. We'll talk about Fast and Furious when we do maybe we'll do one of the sequels during the 2000s, or we'll just cover it during our decade in review. But yeah, Joyride was something that came about, and I didn't have high expectations for it, and ended up loving it in theaters and seeing it a couple times, buying the DVD immediately, and all that kind of stuff. But J.J. Abrams actually wrote it, produced it.
Wow.
Which I don't know if you guys all knew that.
For doing that.
I didn't know that.
But yeah, Steve Zahn, Paul Walker, and Lily Sobieski. It's the three of them primarily. They're traveling across states. I forget exactly where. Play a prank on a truck driver with their CB radio, and the truck driver essentially just chases them throughout, trying to kill him. Similar
to New Jersey, man.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
There we go. Where are they coming from? California or Texas?
I don't know. Somewhere far away from New Jersey.
Colorado.
I think it's...
they start in California and they go through Colorado to pick up Lily Sobieski.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it's similar to Spielberg's Duel, where it's a faceless truck driver, menacing people on the road. Really cool, thrilling scenes. What's his face? The dude who plays Buffalo Bill in Silence of the Lambs, Ted Levine. plays the truck driver, and he was also in Fast and Furious with Paul Walker.
The second movie they did together that year.
Yeah, pretty odd, but and he was uncredited, which was weird. But yeah, he plays Rusty Nail, to their Candy Cane, and just it's a fun thriller, pretty intense. I don't know. You got anything to really add to it? And I like that it really wasn't gory or anything. It just
Except for the one scene where you see the
with the
guy
jaw.
with his jaw ripped off.
Yeah.
It's not really my type of movie, but I remember going to see it with you guys, and I really loved it. I own it on DVD. I watched it several times after that.
Yeah, it was a very visceral type of film. Like it really like the scenes were very tense like throughout. I really liked it from what I remember.
Even though it's kind of a blatant ripoff of what is it, Duel?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a blatant ripoff of Duel, but it's a nice.
Which makes sense because J.J. Abrams has been ripping off Spielberg like his entire career.
Yeah, this was kind of the beginning. But it's a nice update on it, and it's cool to have it in a more contemporary atmosphere. It's a neat idea. I mean, it's one that I think about all the time since I have horrible road rage living in New Jersey. And maybe one day I'm going to piss off a trucker and he's going to follow me around until, it's me or him, even though. Did they ever make a sequel to this movie?
I'm looking it up now.
I think they did.
2 directed DVD sequels.
Yeah.
Lovely. Might have to watch those
2.
one day.
Yeah, in 2008 and 2014. Joyride 2 Dead Ahead and Joyride 3 Roadkill.
Hell yeah.
I totally expected a sequel based on how it ended, but the movie just didn't make enough money. It also was in theaters like only weeks after 9/11, which was not a great time for the box office and for America as a whole.
Yeah.
So I don't know. If it was in a better release date, maybe it would have performed a bit better. But
I bet there's a lot of movies post September, early 2002 that really were probably good but didn't get their fair shake because of that. Because it took a long time for things to go back to normal.
Yeah, for sure.
It'd be interesting to take a look at that.
But yeah, that's my pick, and that is 2001. So we'll get back to it next week with 2002. We'll think that was a solid year definitely for blockbusters. There was a lot of good stuff: Spider-Man, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, all that. But yeah, we hope you keep listening to this, and we will see you next week. Have a good one.